Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today we'll be discussing the history of the magical beings known as Veela. Within the wizarding world of Harry Potter, we never learn all that much about the mysterious and exceptionally beautiful humanoid species called the Veela. In fact, much of what we do know about these magical beings revolves entirely around their physical appearance, with their description given in great detail several times over the course of the books and films, but specifically throughout the Goblet of Fire. This fourth installment of the series is the first time Harry, alongside us Muggles, are introduced to the idea of the Veela. Here, before we even reach 100 pages of the novel, the Veela come prancing onto the page after being announced as the Bulgarian Quidditch team's mascots during the 1994 Quidditch World Cup. This is, of course, the chapter in which Harry attends the World Cup alongside the Weasleys and Hermione Granger. Now, up until that time, Harry was completely unfamiliar with the Veela and seems to be rather confused when Arthur Weasley announces that they are the Bulgarian team's mascots. However, before he could ask Mr. Weasley what they were exactly, a group of these magical beings took to the pitch. This, as you may remember, effectively answered Harry's question, as described in the following excerpt from the novel. Veela were women, the most beautiful women Harry had ever seen, except that they couldn't be human. This puzzled Harry for a moment while he tried to guess what exactly they could be. What could make their skin shine moon bright like that, or their white gold hair fan out behind them without wind? But then the music started, and Harry stopped worrying about them not being human. In fact, he stopped worrying about anything at all. Harry's description of the Veela here then forms the basis and just about entirety of what we know about this species. They are somewhat human magical beings who are incredibly beautiful with hair as golden and bright as the sun, and skin so luminous it shines as brilliantly as the moon. In fact, the Veela possess such mesmerizing beauty that their appearance literally has the ability to enchant anyone who finds them attractive. And as Harry continued to watch the Veela during the opening of the World Cup, he unintentionally learned even more about the Veela and their abilities to mesmerize those around them, which is mainly that their abilities to enchant people are made all that much stronger when they begin to dance. This phenomenon is described in the following passage, also from the Goblet of Fire. The Veela had started to dance, and Harry's mind had gone completely and blissfully blank. All that mattered in the world was that he kept watching the Veela, because if they stopped dancing, terrible things would happen. And as the Veela danced faster and faster, wild, half-formed thoughts started chasing through Harry's dazed mind. He wanted to do something very impressive, right now. Jumping from the box into the stadium seemed a good idea, but would it be good enough? These thoughts, which all but consumed Harry's conscious mind, were only interrupted when the Veela stopped dancing, to which his reaction was an unjustified sense of fury and an immediate dislike for the opposing Quidditch team. It was only then that Harry realized that he'd half climbed up over his seat and was ready to jump all the way down to the pitch from their box way up high. Soon after, however, Harry discovered that the Veela aren't always so enchanting, for when the Veela mascots became angry with the opposing team's mascots, a group of leprechauns, they went from gorgeous human women to flame-throwing giant angry birds. You see, when the Veela are provoked, their faces grow long and sharp, their bodies sprouting both beaks from their mouths and wings from their shoulders, and they take on the appearance of much less pleasant bird-like creatures. And, as you may have gathered, alongside the Veela's ability to shapeshift into cruel, fowl-like beings, they are also able to launch balls of fire from their bare hands and do not seem to require a wand for their particular brand of magic. Later, in the Goblet of Fire, we also learn that the hair of the Veela has a magical essence to it, as Fleur Delacour's wand was made with her full-blooded Veela grandmother's hair as the core. This was revealed during renowned wand maker Garrick Ollivander's inspection of Fleur's wand, to which he commented that he himself never uses Veela hair as a core as he finds it to be too temperamental. In terms of the biology of the Veela species, it's rather unclear whether or not there are both male and female Veela. Of course, only female Veela performed during the 1994 Quidditch World Cup, but this doesn't necessarily mean that male Veela don't exist. That said, it certainly doesn't prove that they do. Many fans believe that the Veela's history is rooted in the folklore and mythology of the Slavic Veela. Of course, if the Veela in the wizarding world of Harry Potter are meant to be direct descendants of Veela, then it would be logical to conclude that there are no male Veela, as the Veela are said to have been exceptionally beautiful female fairies, nymphs, and or the spirits of drowned young women. In some mythology, it's believed that the Veela were able to take the form of a human if they fell in love with a mortal. All of this, of course, suggests that Veela, and therefore perhaps Veela, are a species exclusively made up of women, who are not solid in their true form, but are more spirit-like. This would also support the Veela's ability to shapeshift. And while there are some fans who believe the Veela to be a variation of the sirens of Greek mythology, I would argue that the Wizarding World already has sirens in its canon, referring to them as one of the 3 subspecies of merpeople. And while I do understand that certain folklore describes sirens as part human, part bird, which would align them well with the Veela's bird-like appearance while enraged, there's one great difference between how these 2 magical species are said to enchant humans, with the Veela using their skills of dance and the sirens using their talents of song. Also, the sirens in Harry Potter are part fish, as most modern-day interpretations of sirens are depicted, rather than part bird, like the Veela. Add to that the Veela are said to be native to Bulgaria, hence why they were the mascot of the country's national Quidditch team in 1994, and we seem to have an irrefutable origin and foundational history in the Slavic Veela for this magical species. So, with a basic understanding of where the Veela came from, we are left with only a few questions regarding their nature and history. Mainly, how do they continue to exist if we believe that there are only female Veela? Well, in terms of their ability to reproduce, I think it's safe to say that these spirits are born, as any mythological nymph or fairy is, by simply coming into being. The only exception to this rule would be when a Veela mates with a human, which results in the birth of a half Veela. Based on the characters we are introduced to in the series, namely Fleur Delacour and her younger sister Gabrielle, it's unclear whether a half Veela can be male, or if a union between a Veela and a human can only ever produce a daughter. That said, it's my belief that if a Veela and human were to have a son, perhaps that wizard would not have any inherent Veela abilities. This is unlike half Veela witches, as through Fleur Delacour, we also become aware of the fact that her Veela ancestry provides her with some of the abilities of that species. While Fleur's beauty and charm may not be quite as potent as a full-blooded Veela, it certainly does have an effect on the students at Hogwarts School, in particular Ron Weasley. "She's a Veela," he said hoarsely to Harry. "Of course she isn't," said Hermione tartly. "I don't see anyone else gaping at her like an idiot." That said, although Fleur may have had the ability to enchant those who found her attractive to a certain degree, like Ron, we never see Fleur or her sister transform into bird-like creatures or hurl flames. To me, this means that it's entirely possible these particular traits of Veela magic are only inherent to full-blooded Veela. One final thought I'll leave you with is that it's also uncertain whether Veela have ever procreated with Muggles before, or if they are only willing to couple with wizards and potentially other magical beings. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. What did you think? Did I miss anything about the history of the Veela? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.